తిన్నావా? Good boy. నువ్వే
Hello,
తిన్నావా?
good evening, friends. Good evening, friends. Let us all welcome Dr. Duraiya, a homeopathic doctor by qualification. She found her inner calling in the holistic removal of diabetics and other lifestyles disorders through residential retreats at their eco farm near Pune, India. Her endeavor is towards propagating medicine-free life for all.
Madam, please unmute yourself. Yeah, unmute yourself. Geeta ji, unmute yourself. Some internet problems, so please wait. Hello, friend. Am I audible? Hello.
Hello, Kiran.
Yes, madam. Madam, we are not able to hear. Please give an introduction. I request Priya, madam. Please do not share the screen until get the proper welcome. Do not hurry to share the screen. Please wait. We are trying to ensure the technical error. Okay? Yeah, Geeta ji, please give us some help.
Yes. Yeah. Good evening, friends. Let us welcome Dr. Duraiya, a homeopathic doctor by qualification. She found her inner calling in the holistic reversal of diabetics and other lifestyle disorders through residential retreats at their eco farm near Pune, India. Her endeavor is towards propagating medicine-free life for all. She is the lead facilitator of the Freedom from Diabetics residential program. She also conducts a 3-day retreats on mind, body, and soul healing. We welcome Dr. Duraiya. Doctor, handing over to you. Welcome back again.
Thank you, Geeta.
Thank you so much, Geeta.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So a warm welcome to all you wonderful people who are joining us from all over the country, I believe, part of Dignity Foundation, and also friends and family, all looking for working on their health, and especially from the point of view of diabetes. So I have worked extensively over the last many years, and especially since the last 6 to 7 years in this field of working towards diabetes reversal. And I believe that nature is the best healer. And if we make certain changes in our lifestyle, we can attune ourselves back to nature, we can reverse most of the lifestyle conditions which are existing today, which we are facing with today. So in general, what I'm going to talk about is also specifically for diabetes, but we'll understand later on through the session that it's not only about diabetes, it's about most of the lifestyle disorders happening today, which can be reversed or brought under good control by following these guidelines and recommendations. Also, I would like to mention that it's like there is no shoe that fits all. As people are different, their requirements and needs are different, their condition of other health conditions are also there. So there would be changes required, which could be preferably kind of taken care of by an expert, either on the diet front or your doctor. And also that the diet that I recommend, guidelines that I recommend today are not fixed for the entire life. It would change as per your needs, as per your sugar control, as per your other conditions. So generally what I'm going to be giving you all as guidelines will definitely help to bring about some changes you will notice in your state of health. And specifically for diabetes, you will start seeing some drop in your sugar levels, more energy in your the ability to do work, and overall state of health will be better. All right, so I can now dive into my presentation if everybody is ready and joined.
Yes. Yes, yes. Continue.
Okay, I think there is some. It's going to the last slide again. Sorry, just a little technical thing. It's going to the last slide. Okay. I'll try to make it into quite a colorful presentation that you all will enjoy watching. All right. So, food for diabetics. Well, I've been associated with Freedom from Diabetes, an organization which has been extensively working since the last 9+ years with research and innovation, and has various programs have helped to reach out to more than 1 lakh people all over the country from across the world. And it has helped more than 9,500 diabetics either go off their medicine or insulin, or help them to reverse various complications that So not only that, it's say by margins and freedom and reversal. But before we get into that, we need to understand a little bit of the science that makes it all happen. And whatever recommendations that I'm going to be talking about, if we understand a little bit of the science behind it, it makes it easier for you to follow if it is you're following with understanding. Okay. So let's come to the basic point. Okay. Most of the diabetics are asked to avoid. We enjoy sugar-free mithais, sugar-free chocolates, and whatsoever. I mean, the market is flooded with all these sugar-free products, and India is soon to become the diabetic capital of the world. So with the numbers which are in lakhs and soon crores, it's big business. But most of us are consuming other things which actually account to almost 20 to 25 teaspoons just by eating home-cooked food. Can I see some expressions? How can that be possible? I mean, you're not having stable sugar, you're not having any mithais, but still 20 to 25 teaspoons of sugar are going into your system every day just by eating home-cooked food. So let me tell you that grains, dhanya, anaj that you eat, be it rice, be it bread, be it chapati, be it jawar, whatever that you're eating, is 80 to 90% still have sugar. They're not only protein, they still have 60 to 70% sugar. So most of us in India, especially in Maro breakfast. So in case this Can you also see my visual, or should I go into full screen? Am I having a plate of poha? Do you know how much sugar is there in one plate of poha? 4 teaspoons of sugar. And normally 1 plate of poha, that is beaten rice, very popular in Maharashtra. So 1 plate of poha is not sufficient. We normally want 2 plates. And there is upma, 1 full cup of 15 grams in full cup that we have oil, but you're having the full cup, and itself is 2.5 sugar. And ek phulke mein pet nahi bharta, right? We have breakfast, full cups at lunch, and we think we are doing the right thing for our body. So it counts to almost 15 the other things that are going into your body. 1 bhakri, which is again very popular in Maharashtra. Bhakri is either mostly made of jawar or bajri, which are millets, but they are the bigger millets. So a bhakri also will have roughly 4 to 5 teaspoons of sugar. And that is not all. We tend to snack through the day. There must be some chevra, there will be some sandwich, there will be some bread. And also if you're eating healthy, the dal, the vegetables, the fruits that you eat all contain sugar. So do you see, without realizing, even the home-cooked food that we are consuming is accounting to almost 20 to 25 teaspoons of sugar every day. Do you know how much sugar is there in your blood for non-diabetics when you're just sitting? How much, or in your fasting state, how much sugar is there in your blood? It's just 1 teaspoon. And here we are consuming 20 to 25 teaspoons of sugar every day. So what happens to all that sugar? If it remains in your blood, it can go to your brain and give you a diabetic coma, or can affect your body organs very badly. So the body has a very smart system in place. When the sugars in your blood rise, it sends a message to the pancreas, and they start secreting insulin. And insulin helps to pump this glucose into your muscle cells and into your liver and store it till it is of need. So roughly 500 grams, that is 100 teaspoons of sugar, are stored in your muscles. And another 20 teaspoons of sugar, that is roughly 100 grams, are stored in your liver. That is your storehouse. Suddenly, if you need sugar, if you have fasted, morning you need to go and do work or walk or jog without eating, you're going to get that sugar from your stores. But these stores, if the way we are consuming 20 to 25 teaspoons of sugar every day, these stores will also get filled up in just 1 week.
Hello, Dr. Dhuria. Kiran
that
here.
excess sugar that we are eating,
Dhuria,
it gets
excuse me,
converted
Dr.
into
Dhuria.
fat, charbi, and gets it.
Excuse me, Dr. Dhuria.
I cannot hear you, sir.
Kiran here.
Yes.
Kiran from Pune. Your
Yes.
audio is not clear. You know, many people, in the chat box, they complain that your audio does not get clear. So you please check your brand-on internet connections. So your audio is not getting properly. So
Okay.
please ensure once again.
Okay, I'll just give me a second. I will just check on that one.
And also speak slowly. When you speak rapidly or fastly, it takes time to deliver this message to the members. So I request you, and please also ensure the network connection.
Okay, so
Thank
just
you,
give
sir.
me a minute. I will just check on that. Okay.
Dear friends, there is one suggestion from member. Please switch off your all video camera, internet, you will get the quality internet. So please switch off your camera. Hope technical problem will solve. Except the guest. Yes, Dr. Duria, you may proceed.
Yes, I'm just trying to figure out to get a hotspot also to aid. So just give me still a moment, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, can you now hear me better, more clearer? Is there any improvement in the sound quality?
Yes. Now I'm getting a clear voice.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting clear voice.
Okay.
It's very sensitive session, is very important. That's why there are 192 people. And again, the entries, I'm allowing to them. So we are really love to hear from you. You please continue, proceed.
Okay, so should I begin once again or just proceed from where?
Not begin. Where you can start. No need to start from beginning.
Okay. All right. So we were talking about how much sugar we are consuming every day just by eating homemade cooked food. That grains containing at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, be it fulkas, be it our rice, be it our bhakris, be it poha, and any of the breakfast items, grains at lunch, grains at dinner. So we need to work on limiting and eating smartly. Okay, so we will go on further and understand. Okay, so one bhakri is 4 to 5 teaspoons of sugar, and along with that there is chewra, biscuits, snacks, sandwiches, pakoras, and what, because we mostly have this concept that sugar is something we have to avoid in our food, but we are, without our knowledge, consuming a lot of sugar in our daily regular home cooked food. So let's move on. So if we need to understand why and what is happening in our system, we will have to understand this concept of insulin resistance. Okay, so most of us are producing insulin naturally, but that insulin in type 2 diabetics specifically is not acting the way it should act. So let us understand what is causing this and then how through diet we can reverse these changes. Most of those who are diabetics in attending this program and even otherwise across the country, they are taking medicines, they are being pumped with insulin, and they are just managing their sugars, they're just controlling their sugars. The action is very similar to if you have got an infection, a cut or bruise, and it has got infected, and you're just, or you've got putting a band-aid on it, or if you've got fever, you're just taking a crocin and just bringing down the fever, just controlling the temperature. But what is actually causing the fever? What is the infection underlying? What is the need? If there is a need of an antibiotic to actually take care of that infection, then automatically the fever will subside. So here we are going to the root cause to understand about diabetes, how food is related to diabetes, and what are the changes we can make in our food pattern, which can help us not only in managing and controlling our sugars, but to a large extent, and has happened with thousands of our participants, reversing diabetes. Yes, diabetes is not a lifetime sentence. If you want, you can reverse it as well as reverse the complications. So let us understand what is coming in the way of insulin acting. As I mentioned earlier, that the glucose, the 20 to 25 teaspoons of glucose that we are consuming every day is being pumped into the muscle cells or into the liver with the help of insulin. So insulin has a very important action to play. And if it's not able to work properly, it will not put the glucose inside the muscle or the liver, and your glucose levels, your sugar levels will rise, and your diabetes, your sugar count on your glucometer will show very high. So let us see what causes insulin resistance. Okay, there are 4 causes which are related to the diet, and that is what we are going to take care of in this particular session, the food changes that we can make. There are also 2 related to exercise, basically the muscles and the lymph and circulation. And there is 1 cause which is related to stress. So stress is something which diabetics need to work on. Many diabetics get diabetic after stress. So diabetes, basically the stress hormones also look and act similar to and do not allow insulin to rise, and stress related causes. But in this session, we shall be focusing on the diet related causes.
Please
So this
play
is a picture, a drawing.
Madam, please play the
Sorry.
PPT as well simultaneously. Your PPT is stuck. You please play your PPT as well.
Is the
Your
PPT on my screen has moved. Has it moved in your screen?
No, it does not move.
None of the slides have moved so far?
Yes, I think that because in my desktop, your screen does not move.
Okay, you are not able to see any of the screens?
Only your food for the diet, your only first slide is seen. Other slide does not move.
Okay, because it is moving in my.
Madam, don't worry about it. Just because of happening the low internet, you please continue. Your lecture is so wonderful. Please continue. Do not worry about whether the screen moving forward or not. Please
okay,
continue.
but I would like you all to be able to understand.
Yeah, but due to the load and internet error, so we cannot do anything.
Okay. So no slide is moving at all in your screens. So still work on, or is it because overall the load is too much?
Still does not move. Madam, don't worry. You could please continue. Madam, your side has stuck. Don't worry. You please continue. Or you can share the you please stop the screen sharing and again you access. So it would move. Please stop the screen sharing.
Okay, and restart it, right? Let me try.
This time. Yeah, something happened.
Okay. So.
And it takes time when we enter the next slide. When we try to shift the next slide, it will take time.
1 second. Has the slide changed now on your screen?
Could anyone respond? In my desktop, it does not move.
It does not move yet?
Yes.
No.
Madam, if it is moving, hello, madam. If
Has it
is
moved on
moving
any
to
screen?
desktop, it would be fine.
Yes. No, but is it moving for anybody
Yeah,
at
yeah.
all?
Oh,
Or is
yes,
it,
yes. Done. Done,
Okay.
madam.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you
fine.
for the disturbance. I just brought it to your notice, but member are asking me that the slide should be changed. That's why I brought it to
No,
your notice.
no.
Thank you.
I'm glad you brought it to my notice because on my screen it is changing, and I would love you all to be able to follow the slides because
Yeah. Thank you, madam. Thank you. Yeah, please continue.
the slides also are very with understanding the root causes of insulin resistance. As I mentioned, there are 4 diet-related causes. There are 2 related to exercises and 1 which is stress, giving crossing kind of effect. Okay, not just controlling, but we're working at deeply reversing diabetes. So this is a very important photograph. Is it visible to all? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So the 7 causes that I mentioned, I will quickly go through. So first is the insulin-like growth factor. Okay, that is number 1 here, if you can see. Okay, these are growth factors present in milk and milk products. Everything that is milk and made of animal milk, cow's milk, buffalo milk. Okay, this looks like insulin, and its shape is like insulin. It goes and sits in these locks of insulin and does not allow insulin to work. This is a diagram of a muscle cell, and all that happens of the glucose going into the muscle cell happens at this level. So 1 is the blockage of action of insulin because of the IGF that is present in milk and milk products, which is sitting from top and blocking the locks. Second is inflammation that happens, the swelling which happens in this membrane around the muscle cell. Okay, so the shape of this locks gets altered. The normal insulin key cannot fit into it, and your sugar levels rise. Third is the fat that is stuck inside the muscle cells, which act like chewing gum inside these locks. Don't allow, the insulin may fit in the lock, but the lock cannot open. And the message to these doorways, pathways, open up and allow glucose to go inside doesn't happen. The 4th cause is lack of micronutrients. We are mostly eating protein, carbohydrate, fat, but we are not working on the micronutrients. That is a lot of minerals, vitamins, and live enzymes. So the lack of micronutrients does not allow the conversion of glucose into energy. There are mitochondria which are there inside your muscles, and that is converting all the glucose you eat into energy. So your blood sugar levels are 200 plus, 250 plus, but still you feel so weak and tired. Why is that? Because you don't have these very important micronutrients to convert it into energy. The 5th cause, which is an exercise-related cause, is the stagnated lymph because of no activity, sedentary sitting lifestyle. All the toxins in our blood accumulate, and then they cause more toxicity in and around and inflammation in your muscle cells. And the 6th is when the muscle only is very weak, muscle strength is not there, the mitochondria are not there, the muscle cells are less in number. Please remember, as we age, every year after the age of 25 years, you're losing 1% of your muscle strength just by sitting and not doing anything to make your muscles stronger. So very important to do exercises, very important to keep your body moving, and very important for the sugar level also. So we are going to work on the muscles. And the 7th cause, as I mentioned, was the stress related. And I said that the stress hormones are again similar to insulin, and they will go and sit in these receptor sites and not allow insulin to work. So these are the 7 main reasons of insulin resistance, but we shall be focusing on the 4 reasons which we can, through our diet, make the necessary changes. So going back to understanding, diet-related causes, 1 is the insulin-like growth factor, which comes through all animal milk and milk products. Milk products would mean dahi, your paneer, your Shrikhand, your chas, and everything that is made of milk. Okay. Acid and inflammation, excess fat in your body, and lack of micronutrients. So let's go a little detail because these are important for you to understand. And all these points that I mentioned, okay, which cause insulin resistance, which don't allow insulin to work, will increase the insulin levels in your body, and they will cause all these kind of diseases. Most of you who are diabetic also have some of these conditions. Obesity, that is a lot of weight gain, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, hypothyroidism, snoring complaints, joint problems, PCOD, PCOS, which happens in young women and young girls, acidity issues. Many of you all may have already suffered a heart attack or have a stent or something, suffered a stroke, Alzheimer's, and even cancers. So all these are different branches of the same tree. We are having medicines for all these different conditions. But if you want to go to the root of the problem, and if we work on the root of the problem, automatically most of these conditions start reversing by themselves. All right. So very important, whether you have diabetes or not, if anyone in your family is also suffering from these conditions due to insulin resistance, it would be worthwhile to start following these recommendations. So let's get to the IGF and the milk products. Everyone, a deep breath in and say choo. Okay, I know it's going to be very difficult because it is something which has been ingrained in our system since childhood, since generations. But just to know experimentally, experientially, and scientifically what happens when we consume milk. Okay, so it has been even tested for many of our participants. Having 1 cup of tea, no sugar in the tea, just 2 tablespoons of milk in that morning cup of tea has increased the sugar levels for some by just 20 points and for some by 100 points. Just those 2 spoons of sugar, 2 spoons of milk in a tea which does not have sugar. But we cannot do without that morning tea. We cannot do without that afternoon tea. So what we do? Okay, you can switch over to herbal teas, which are kadhas, and that's something which our ancestors always used to have, concoctions made with whatever herbs were available, or black tea with lemon, or black coffee. And if you still want that milky tea, we recommend you switch over to plant-based milks like coconut milk or almond milk. And believe me, the tea and coffee taste delicious. You will not miss your regular milk tea. Just give it a good try for at least 7 days. Of course, it might taste a little different because we were used to the taste of the regular animal milk tea. But once you switch over to this, for 7 days, new taste buds, new tastes become easy to kind of acquire and start liking it. I have switched over to coconut milk tea for the last 6.5 years. And now even if I'm offered a cup of regular dairy milk tea, I do not like the taste of it. So it's all a matter of acquiring a different taste. Taste buds take just 7 days to become new in your tongue. So I request you all, don't be a slave to your taste buds. Rather, be in charge of your health, be in charge of your life, and acquire and develop tastes which are healthy for you. All right, so milk, and the same thing holds true for all milk products. That is, things made out of dairy milk. So from chocolates and ice creams to mithais to even your regular home curd. And so there are options. We are not telling you to stop that, but there are many options which you can make at home and are also available in the market, which you can make milk out of nuts, of seeds, of oats. A lot of variety is possible, and you can still enjoy your dahi, your buttermilk. You can still enjoy all the things made that way. You can still enjoy your Shrikhand and a lot of sweets, which pizzas and cheese, which we are doing. So there is a beautiful I mean, there is a lot that you can do. So just make the switch over and see the difference it makes on your sugar levels. Okay, don't do it because I'm saying it, but do it because you see the difference. So just give yourself 7 days or 10 days of going off milk and milk products completely. Just take it as a pratigya, as just as an oath, just like I'm going to do this. And just see if you have a glucometer, please check the difference it is making in your blood sugar levels. And you yourself will then have the authority to say that, yes, this is an experiential learning and not that we have told you to do so. Okay, so give it a fair try, and then you can decide if you would like to pursue it. And then going on to acidic foods, the second cause that we had seen in this slide, in this diagram. Okay. The second cause, which I said, is the swelling of the membranes and inflammation. So just as in the monsoon, you might have experienced the doors swelling up, the same way the acid in your food also swells up the membrane around the muscle cell, and this doesn't allow the insulin lock mechanism to function properly. So your blood sugar levels keep rising and your diabetes only gets worse. We have been eating a lot of foods which are highly acidic for the body. Our body is normally alkaline, and in that state, it can do its own healing, repair, maintenance job is happening beautifully, naturally. You don't see birds and animals falling sick or running to doctors and taking tablets and injections. They're allowing nature to heal themselves. Nature, God, creator, whatever you may say, has given us also, our bodies also, the ability to heal naturally, but provided our body is in the alkaline state. And what are we doing? We are pumping ourselves with a lot of acidic foods every day, every meal. So I have given a list of things which are acidic and highly acidic foods. As you see, one column which says cheese, meat, chicken, fish, eggs, dairy. These are all highly acidic foods, and these are all from the animal kingdom. So if you can either avoid or minimize or reduce the frequency of these foods in your diet, you will see a lot of difference. But there are foods from the vegetable kingdom also, which are highly acidic. And topping the list is sugar. Yes, sugar is highly acidic for the body. And all the things made out of sugar, from your soft drinks to everything, are highly acidic. So please minimize and avoid totally if you can. Tea and coffee are also acidic. So what do? How do we start our morning? With a nice hot cup of, unfortunately, I can't hear you all. Most of you all would have said tea, or down south, you would have said coffee.
Black coffee without sugar.
Black coffee without sugar, yes. But I would say we start our morning with a nice hot cup of acid. Okay, acid, yes, because the tea is acidic. The milk we put in the tea is acidic. The sugar you put in the tea is acidic. And most of us love to dip 2 biscuits in our tea and drink and have them at tea time, isn't it? So that also is acidic. Can you imagine what we are doing first thing in the morning? Our cars, we fill the best quality petrol and best quality fuel because our car needs to take you from here to there. What about this car, this vehicle, which is there to last you for your lifetime? This car is going to help you on your journey through all the ups and downs in life. But what kind of petrol are we putting in this car? Acid. We start the morning with pumping in acid and pouring in acid into our system. So we will talk about how we can make our bodies alkaline. But getting back to the list of acidic foods, there's sugar, there is tea, there is coffee. It is best done so because it is very toxic for the body. Body wants to remove it in every possible way. White vinegar, which is extensively used in Chinese cooking, please avoid. Substitute it with apple cider vinegar, which is natural and which is alkaline and good for the body. Avoid too much of iodized salt, which is also acidic. You can substitute or use rock salt black salt, Himalayan pink salt. Okay, these are all salts which have other minerals also and are helpful to the body. Have some amount of the iodine also, which comes to the regular iodized salt. Colas. I think colas was something 50 years ago. We didn't even know what it was. But now you get a Pepsi, you get a Coke, you get a combo meal, you get a Happy Meal, and it's part and parcel of our diet. And for diabetics, they know colas, sugar is bad, so we are having Diet Coke and zero Pepsi and everything which sugar substitutes are very harmful to the body when taken on a regular basis. It can cause autoimmune conditions. It can cause the death of all the good bacteria in your intestines and even lead to cancers in some cases. Okay, so please avoid. And colas are highly acidic. They are beautiful and good to keep in your house, but not to consume, but to wash and clean your toilets. Yes, you heard me right. They help to clean your toilets and make them sparkling clean. They kill all kinds of bacteria and living organisms. So you don't want to pour that acid into your stomach. So please avoid colas. And now what we come to the last one is wheat. Gehu. Now you've been told to avoid rice, but you've been having gehu. Gehu in your chapatis, in your upmas, in your dalias, you've been having in your fulkas. A lot of gehu people are consuming. But the gehu that we are consuming regularly, which is available in the market, Loquan Cure MP, is highly acidic, very high in gluten, and very damaging for the system and also diabetogenic. So if you still feel like having wheat, we recommend you switch over to other forms of wheat, which I shall be talking about later. That's Kapli wheat or einkorn, and there are lots of names to it. I will be giving you that list just a little ahead in the presentation. The third cause of insulin resistance was fat, which stuck like chewing gums from inside your muscle cell and didn't allow those receptors to open the doors. If you remember that drawing, or should I just get back to it? Yeah, in this case, number 3, okay? This is all the extra fat in your body, which is sticking inside here and not allowing your receptors to open. If you have to see whether you're really fat or not, you do get weighing scales nowadays, which also tell you the body composition, not only your weight, means whether your weight is made out of muscle or fat or what it is made of. So there is a fat percentage. So if you can, these are the ideal counts. If ladies, if you can keep your fat percentage below 25%, and for men below 20%. But if you do not, I mean, you can, most of us can feel that fat around our abdomen, our belly, on our hips, on our arms, okay? And another way to know whether you really have a lot of fat in your body is to measure your waist and your height. Your waist measure should be half that of your height. So if your height is, say, 164 centimeters, your waist should be less than 82 centimeters, okay? So check and you will know yourself if you have more fat in your body, and please start working on that fat through the right kind of diet and the right kind of exercise. And the fourth I told was the lack of micronutrients, which does not allow the conversion of glucose into energy in your muscle cells. Micronutrients are all very important. Some we know like iron and calcium and sodium, but there are many which we don't even know about. Okay, so it's not possible to even test all those levels, but all these micronutrients and also all these vitamins are present in large quantity if you're eating raw, uncooked food, if you're eating soaked food, and you're eating sprouts. These are high sources of live micronutrients which help your body to regain and rebuild and repair and do all the conversions which are necessary in the body. So if you have to increase the micronutrients, I have this golden rule of 5 S and a CD. So those of you who would like to make a note of it, the first S is salads. Lots of salads, have them at your breakfast, have them at your lunch, have them in your dinner. Second is sprouts. See that the sprouts are at least 1 inch long. They're the most live and the most alkaline food on earth, right? So you can make a sprout salad, have a breakfast, wonderful. The next S is for nuts, which need to be soaked. So soaked nuts, we recommend almond of seeds, which will give you rich calcium, rich sources of protein, and your body will not be deficient in any of these. And the last S is for smoothie. So all the greens that come in your smoothie are rich sources of calcium and also rich sources of smoothie. But before that, the 5S and the CD, chutneys, if you can incorporate. Chutneys in our Indian cooking, I think we have fresh green chutneys, coconut chutneys, dry chutneys of different seeds like flaxseed and sesame seeds. I think it is part of our Indian tradition of food. So incorporate a lot of chutneys in your diet at all the meals, and of course, dals at all the meals. So basically, we're working on cutting down on the carbohydrate that is coming through your grains and increasing the portions of all the healthy things. So this is something I'm going to share with you. This is something which you can take back and start making in your homes, in your own kitchen, from the things which are easily available at home. We call this the stunning nutrient-dense green smoothie. It is almost like an elixir. It can help to reverse so many health conditions. It alkalizes the system. You have it with the fiber. It helps with constipation. It has live chlorophyll in it. And that chlorophyll is very similar to hemoglobin in your blood and helps to repair the blood cells and your body beautifully. And the magnesium in it helps to reverse your diabetes. It improves your insulin sensitivity. It helps to dilate the blood vessels, so BP comes down, and beautiful effects. I would say this is the best way you can start your day. Make it a family affair. You will see your energy levels go up. The entire family can start their morning with this. So how do we make this? I will tell you what are the ingredients and how much to use. So the focus is on the greens. So you can take a major green, what we call, which can be spinach, it can be kale, it can be lettuce, it can be green sorrel, it can be any of the greens that you normally eat. So it can be even methi, fenugreek, or any of the ones that you use. We request you to avoid methi particularly in this, as well as shepu, that's dill, or it's also called I'm not sure which part of the country everybody is from, but dill is what it's called in English, okay? Because these are both a little pungent and we don't want to spoil the taste of the smoothie, as well as too much quantity can also irritate our digestive system. All right, so the major green, you can take 1 cup, half a cup of any minor greens, which are mostly herbs. It could be mint, it could be betel leaf, it could be coriander, it can be tulsi, that's holy basil. It can be curry leaves, or whatever is normally available as herbs. You can use celery, parsley. Just make variations. So maybe to start off with, you can start with mint and betel leaf. It tastes very yummy and also has great health value. The third step is to take half of fruit. Now for diabetics, we recommend only apple, pear, guava, berries, kiwi fruit, or dragon fruit, because these fruits have less sugar content. The step 4 is to use herbs and spices such as cinnamon, dalchini. It is it's a very good anti-diabetic herb, and it is a very good antioxidant also. And you can add some black pepper, you can add haldi powder, you can add fresh ginger if you feel like. And we also add a little bit of rock salt to this. Step 5, half teaspoon of rock salt and the juice of half lemon, or any vitamin C rich fruit if you're putting like say aula, or you're putting some strawberries or passion fruit. These are all rich in vitamin C that is needed to bring the goodness of greens into your body to absorb it. And the 6th step is 1 glass of water. Just add all of this to your regular blender at home. Blend it for 3 minutes and drink it without straining. This should be the first thing in the morning that you start your day with. All right. And then you can have your tea half an hour later or your breakfast 1 hour later. And just follow this for at least a month and see the difference it makes in your system. However, a word of caution, those who are having kidney stones or any other kidney issue, you will not take the major greens, and instead of that, you can use the minor greens, that's the herbs, but you can use bottle gourd, you can use ash gourd or cucumber instead of the major, or are very thin. You can add some almonds and a teaspoon of oil in your smoothie. And those who need on a weight gain diet, they can use nuts and oils and protein powder and dates. In fact, for children, this is recommended to add lots of bananas. You can add dates. So it's a fantastic start to the morning, better than give them cornflakes and milk. You can vary the spices and greens as per your taste and your individual response. Again, a word of caution, those who have high uric acid level or who are hypothyroid suffering from, to avoid spinach. We have palak only once in a week, not every day. It is a very mineral rich leaf, so we do not want to give a load on your kidneys. So just take it once a week, and the other days of the week, you can use any of the other greens that have been mentioned. Now, this coming back to what you have been probably eating as a diabetic. This is a typical Indian diabetic's diet chart, which is very often prescribed by dietitians who are attached to diabetologists. So let me see if you can also relate yourself to this kind of a diet chart. Milk, but no sugar, and dipping 2 Marie biscuits. Your breakfast is porridge with milk, poha or upma, idlis, omelets, roti sabji, parathas. Mid-morning, there's a fruit snack. Lunch has 2 to 3 chapatis. There is a dal or there is some non-veg. There is a sabji with some dahi and salad, which is there or not there. We are not, see, it's the last in the list. Evening time when batteries are low at around 4:35, again, we want that tea and coffee to recharge our batteries. Again, it is without sugar, but with milk. And then just the tea, coffee is not enough. So we need some biscuits, we need a sandwich, we need some snacks. Then at 6:30, if you're hungry, we still have some fruit. Then dinner, which is similar to lunch. And at bedtime, 1 cup of warm milk. I'm sure many of you all have been prescribed such a diet or have been following such a diet, and this is a diabetic's diet. However, this diet, which we have found, instead of controlling diabetes, only worsens it. The focus is only on counting calories. They do not count or accumulate, take into consideration alkalizing your system, giving more micronutrients to your system, reducing the fat content, and removing the IGF, which is causing your sugars to rise. And there is no account of anything live in this. No enzymes, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, fiber is given any importance. So if we have to change ourselves into alkalizing our system, alkalizing our diet, we recommend no animal milk or milk products also. But if you can reduce the animal products also, that would be better. But give yourself at least 1 month and see what happens to your body, what happens to your sugars, what happens to your diabetes when you follow this kind of an alkalizing diet. Start your morning with smoothie. We say it is the lifesaver. Avoid grains, poha, there is upma, there is idlis, dosas, there is a lot of roti paratha, depending on which part of the country you are from. So avoid grains at breakfast. In fact, we would recommend you have sprouts, salads, and the remaining 50% can be a dal-based breakfast. So I think pesarattu is quite popular down south. You can have dal-based idlis, arai dosas. For thali peats, you can have appes, which are made only of dals. Okay, Thalipeeth in Maharashtra is quite popular. And lots of dal-based options, dhoklas, which are made only of dals. So I will be giving you some options which we can substitute in your breakfast instead of taking a grain-based breakfast. We recommend soaked nuts around 8 to 10 in the day, preferably towards the evening. Seeds, 3 to 4 teaspoons in any which form you can sprinkle over your salads or your parathas or your chilas, you can have in meals. I'll be explaining that to you. Sorry. So this is what your breakfast should look like, where 25% is sprouts, 25% is salads, and the remaining 50% is a dal-based cooked breakfast. So breakfast dal-based items, it could be a besan chila, it could be a mung dal idli, it could be a whole mung dosa, mixed dal thalipeeth. Please make sure the thalipeeth does not have any grain in it, the ready-made atta that's available in the market. Dal-based appes, dhoklas, and you can make your own dal-based breakfast. Okay, so these are just options and suggestions. Lunch, when I said you eat by 25%, so divide your thali into 4 parts, okay, or by katori if you are having. So make sure that your grain is only 25%. Have your cooked vegetables, have your various dals. And so it is like 1 full cow would mean 1 katori of dal, 1 katori of vegetable, 1 katori of salad. If you're taking a bhakri, it would be 1/4 of a bhakri. If you're taking a poli, that's a chapati, then half a chapati. Sorry. So basically, make sure that you're having all the portions in equal quantity, not only 2 or 3 chapatis and 1 katori of dal and 1 katori of vegetable, some more water. Thank you. Sorry, I've just been talking too much.
Yes.
And these are the options for grains that you can substitute in your lunch. So this is kapli wheat. This is roti or fulka made of kapli wheat or emo wheat. Jowar, thank you. Jowar bhakris, you can have brown rice or hand pounded unpolished rice. And of course, bhakris can be a bajra bhakri also. See that all our 4 are kind of maintained by 25% formula. Mostly we are fixated with rice and gehu. So we recommend other forms of grain. And in the order of importance means this is the best. If you can take minor millets. I don't know if you've heard of these millets. Anybody heard of these? Foxtail millet, barnyard millet, kodo millet, little millet. These millets are also popularly known as rale. Okay, these were our indigenous variety of millets. I think down south it is very popular. You can make your khichuris, you can make your upmas, you can make your rotis from the flour of these millets. These are very good because they have very little sugar. They have a lot of fiber, a lot of micronutrients, and easy to digest for the body. Okay, so we recommend that you replace your rice and gehu to a large extent with minor millets. Barley, that is jaw, bajra, brown rice or kapli wheat, and jowar. So based on the sugar content in these grains, the minor millets have the least sugar content and jowar has the maximum sugar content. As I was saying, the wheat, if you want to substitute, it is called as emmer wheat, einkorn, spelt, durum, and rye. These are the international names to it. And the Indian varieties are called emmer wheat or kapli gehu, khatka gehu, jangli gehu, lal gehu, bansi gehu, or kalyan sona. These are thin, pinkish, long grains of gehu. They are high in nutrition, they're high in fiber, low in sugar, and acid is practically nil, gluten is practically nil. So a good substitute to change your gehu to all this varieties, any of these that is available locally also, you can try out in whichever part of the country you are. So include a lot of minor millets, barley, bajra, brown rice, jowar, moong, beans, chana, chole, and rajma in your diet. Vegetables that are recommended is cabbage, bitter melon, that is karela, cucumber, garlic and onion, tondli, that's ivy gourd, okra, that's ladyfinger, bhindi, wood apple, that's kavat, and banana stems. I think down south also it is quite popular. Nuts, we recommend walnuts and almonds. Please soak them for at least 2 hours or more, up to 8 hours. Have 8 to 10 per day, and preferably in the evening when the body is working on healing and repairing itself. Seeds, it could be flax seeds, sesame seeds, you have sunflower seeds, melon seeds, pumpkin seeds. These are all rich sources of live micronutrients, proteins, calcium, and all. So take at least 3 to 4 teaspoons per day, either with your meals or after your meals. And stevia, has anybody heard of stevia? It's also called madhuparni. It's also called sweet basil. It is the only sugar substitute. The leaves are almost 25 times sweeter than sugar. They improve the insulin sensitivity. You can have it in the as a leaf or the dry leaf powder. You can make kadas. You can use it in your tea and coffee. And it has multiple health benefits also. So if you want, you can include this herb in any which form in your regular cooking. Super greens, we recommend. These are power-packed greens, power-packed with a lot of minerals, antioxidants, and to be used in a small quantity. You can add them to your smoothies. So spirulina is the highest quantity of antioxidants in it, but it's a little not too pleasant tasting. So there are tablets available, compressed powder, you can use that. Moringa, that is drumsticks, wheatgrass, I think everybody knows about it, and barley grass. So you can either take 1 to 2 teaspoons of this and add them to your smoothies when you're making it in the morning, or you can have 1 or 2 tablets or 5 to 10 grams of it in the whole day. Please make sure you're not overdoing it, not more than this recommended quantity. And those who are having kidney stones, uric acid problems, as well as any other kidney problems, please do not take this unless or take it under medical supervision only. Herbs and spices which are anti-diabetogenic, and topping the list is curcumin. Okay, it helps in the insulin response. It helps reduce the inflammation, and I think haldi as is very popular right now, also for improving immunity and all that is in the pandemic that we are hearing. But curcumin is also very good as an anti-diabetic herb. You can add it in your smoothie or have it with black pepper, warm water. It's a good start to your day also. Fenugreek, that is methi seeds, cinnamon, again, a very good anti-diabetic spice, which we put in the smoothie. Black pepper, that's cayenne, and holy basil, that's tulsi. So basically, when you sit to eat, ask yourself 2 golden questions. Is it plant-based? And why we recommend plant-based? Because animal-based products or foods are high in acid, they are high in fat, and milk especially has the IGF, that's the insulin-like growth factor, which interferes with your insulin function and causes insulin and your resistance. Plant-based food, and include them in the raw, very minimally, those foods also which you need to cook. Also ask yourself, is it whole? Most of the foods that we get in the market are all refined or processed, where most of the fiber and the goodness and the minerals are removed, and we are only eating the pure sugar part of it. Okay, so refined foods like wheat is made into maida. We are eating white breads, maida products, rava, upma, and all processed food is refined and high in sugars. White rice. So if you want, you can have brown rice or semi-polished rice, which doesn't have, the coating is still very much intact. You can have poha, which is made of brown poha, rather than just take the white poha. Murmura is puffed white rice, which we use in bhels and otherwise, and the white rice idlis. You can substitute it with brown rice or dal-based idlis. Refined oils and butter, Refined oils are very harmful for the body. The goodness is removed and all chemicals and bleaching agents which are there in the refined oil is consumed in our body. Refined sugar, fruit juices and drinks are all high in sugar, are all high in acid and will spike your blood glucose levels. And as I said, this is just an example of when you're converting the whole wheat flour into white flour, that's maida, you will see that there is almost 50 to 90% loss of a lot of micronutrients, whether there are minerals or vitamins. So it is best to eat it as whole as possible. And refined foods lead to various health conditions of the current day lifestyle conditions, from diabetes to heart disease, high triglyceride levels, high cholesterol levels, constipation issues, and obesity or excess of weight. So if you eat whole foods, there are complex carbohydrates, the sugars are broken, while refined foods contain a lot more of simple carbohydrates, which are broken down very fast by the body. They spike your sugar levels and cause acid in your body. So in short, a summary of what to increase in your diet: maximum consume greens through smoothies, salads, and chutneys. Have a lot more beans, legumes, dals, pulses. Have vegetables which are friendly for diabetes. In vegetables which we avoid beetroot because it is high in beet sugar. We avoid a white potato if possible, and the red pumpkin. Okay, that is also high in sugars. Fruits also minimize the quantity. Have fruits which have less sugars in them. And the fruits we request you to avoid are pineapple, jackfruit, that's the ripe jackfruit, and watermelon. You'll understand why very soon when I show you a chart. And grains which have low glycemic index or low sugar in them, like we mentioned in the list, have preferable to eat minor. And last would be jowar in that list. And of course, avoid, if possible, all animal products, oil, and also. So I was talking about glycemic index, and this is an important point which I think all diabetics must know and understand this term. Basically, glycemic index is the speed with which sugar is released in your body when you eat foods. Okay, so if
Hello, we are not able to hear, madam.
yes, I think we went off. Okay. Okay, now I just okay, I'll just get back to my sharing the screen.
Share once again.
Okay, is that fine?
Yes.
Audible and the slide is on? Yes.
Could you go back one more slide? Could you go back to one more slide? It was very important slide.
1 minute, just let me see. Yes, so this is of the foods to avoid. And then I went on to glycemic index. Is this slide visible? Hello?
We are able to see. Yeah, it's visible.
It's visible? Okay. So this was what I was talking about. That how much sugar is released, the speed with which the sugar is released in your body on eating any kind of food is the glycemic index of that food. And so it is made on a scale. If glucose is considered to be a glycemic index of 100, so in comparison to that, what is the glycemic index of certain foods? Okay, it is ranked. So if it is below 55, it is considered a low glycemic index. If it is between 55 and 70, it is considered a medium glycemic index. And if it is above 70, it is in the high glycemic index food range. Okay. So the lower the GI, the better it is, because it does not spike your blood sugar levels. So this is again another graph to understand. So you see the one in the light blue, this graph going up in the light blue and going down. So this is when we have refined foods, say like rice or white rice idlis. Okay, so the sugar is released with great speed. There's a sudden spike in the sugar, and then insulin is also released in large amounts because there is a glucose is released in the large amount. And that insulin will suddenly bring all that glucose inside your muscle cells. So again, the glucose drops very fast and rapidly. And then it goes sometimes even below the normal levels. And then again, your body wants to eat something because the glucose has gone down. So there is normally an up and down graph pattern happening, which is very harmful to the system. So if you eat, say, brown rice idlis or dal-based idlis, okay, in which or low glycemic index foods, the rise in the sugar is slowly broken up in the body with the fiber. So it is slowly released. And then again, the glucose is getting slowly put into your muscle cells. So the graph is much better. So out of the two responses, the low glycemic index food, the response is more favorable for diabetics. So that is why we recommend you to have foods which have a low glycemic index. So this is just a few food products which we have kind of put on the chart. It is impossible to tabulate everything, but just that you would understand that if the glucose is 100, table sugar is roughly 70. Okay, white rice that you eat is 75. So you can immediately take a substitute of brown rice, which is around 55. Bajra is 55. Barley is around 30. Millets are also in this range of around 30 or less than 30. White breads have 75. Ragi or nachni, okay, this is very popularly recommended for diabetics, but it has a very high sugar content. So this is one grain we recommend diabetics to please avoid. Okay, it is good for children, it is good for growing children, it's good for sports people or athletic people, but for diabetics, wait till your reversal happens and then you can have. Sorry. If you see white potatoes is 80, and similarly, if you substitute it with sweet potato, it is only 54. Pumpkin, when I talked about the red pumpkin, it is 75. So you can have carrots instead in a smaller quantity. Watermelon is 76. Pineapple, beetroot are all in a higher range, so please avoid. You can have strawberries, you can have cherries, apples, oranges, bananas and mangoes. They are of a glycemic index of only 50. That's good news. Yes, so most of y'all have never had bananas. Most of y'all didn't eat a mango this season. Yes, but of course, eat it in moderation. And many of our participants are eating it, and their sugar control is very good despite of that. But it is not as bad as it is made out to be. There are other fruits which have a higher glycemic index, which we have been consuming on a regular basis. Okay, so this is just to give you, make sensible choices. Yeah, so that's why most of the beans, the chana, the besan, which is made of chickpea, rajmas, moongs, and beans are all in this range. So substitute a lot of your grains with dals. Please do not avoid grains completely. They are a very good source of certain micronutrients. We need the grains, but we can reduce quantity. We can substitute it with grains which have less sugar in them, and maybe don't eat it at all meals. You can reduce the number of meals in which you eat. So that's why we say breakfast, avoid the grain completely. You can have dal-based breakfast if you prefer. So now coming to the final slide, which is very important for all of you to understand, the diet chart that reverses diabetes. So your morning, preferably as soon as you wake up or within 1 hour of waking up, start your morning when on an empty stomach with this nutrient-dense green smoothie. You can have 250 ml to 500 ml in the morning, depending on your ability to have. And if you're having your tea or coffee, please have it at least half an hour later. Let's not put acid first thing in the morning in our body. Let's start the mornings of a smoothie. Breakfast, no grain for breakfast. If you can actually have just sprout salad. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay. So for breakfast, we recommend avoid the grains completely. So avoid your poha, upma, dosa, idli, and rather have half of your breakfast plate, let it be a sprout with vegetable salad, and half of your plate can be a dal-based breakfast, cooked breakfast. And if you want your reversal to happen even faster, we strongly recommend, and even Nature Cure recommends, to stay raw till lunch. Okay, so just have your smoothies, have a low GI fruit, have your sprout salad, again repeat a glass of smoothie at 11:30 or 12 if you wish, and straight away head for lunch. And at lunch, please have only one type of grain in a meal. Do not mix grains at one time. So if you're having chapati, roti, or bhakri, just have that. Do not have rice and roti. Or important, they have different glycemic indices. It's difficult for the body to be able to digest. So the multigrain attas, multigrain breads, please avoid. Have only one type and keep rotating. If today had a millet, the next day, so don't have that same grain, but rotate and bring more variety, bring more micronutrients into your diet. And your lunch or dinner, please eat by 25%. That is dividing your plate into 4 parts, 1 part of grain, 1 part of salad, 1 part of sabji, which is a cooked vegetable, and 1 part of dal, legumes, pulses, or whatever you can get. Evening, it's recommended either a low GI fruit, healthy snacks, or any of the other things that you're normally used to. And the dinner, have it early by 7:30, 8 latest, and similar to the lunch. In fact, eating dinner after 9 and sleeping after 11 every day is going to increase the acid content in your body. Okay, so on the one side, you're eating your alkaline foods, but if you're eating a very late dinner, or if you're sleeping very late, that is also going to increase the acid in your body. And of course, there was no mention of a cup of tea. So those who are addicted to tea, initially substitute the milk, because that is the greater enemy in your cup of tea. So substitute the, and then slowly, if you can wean off that and go on to a black lemon tea, herbal teas, green teas, whatever, sleep by 11 and for a minimum of 7 hours of restful, peaceful sleep. And in case any of you all would like to understand, because as I said, the diet would vary from individual to individual, from different phases of your reversal. So there are certain structured programs that Freedom from Diabetes offers. If any of you all would like to take that support, or through a doctor, through a diet expert, through an exercise expert on an individual basis, along with an app, because in this day and age, we cannot meet face to face because of the pandemic restrictions. But FFD, that's Freedom from Diabetes, has a long distance in any part of the country, any part of the world. A doctor and experts on the diet and exercise front can monitor and guide you. So there are various programs available. I will just quickly, it's a 2-hour session called the first session of intensive reversal program. One is happening tomorrow itself in the morning between 8 to 10 in English. It's a 2-hour program. Also happens every alternate Saturday in Hindi and English by rotation. So if any of you all would like to interest yourself to understand that, it's also an option. There is an intensive reversal program, which is a 1-year program where you're constantly monitored by doctors and experts. And there is an option of a residential program along with the intensive reversal program. And I have been leading that residential program since the last 6.5 years. We've had 80 editions of the program. And in that program, within 7 days, we've had almost 60% of participants go off the insulin completely, and almost 50 to 60% of participants going off their medication completely, working holistically on the mind, body, and soul level. It's a wonderful program, which people from all over the world have attended and have really appreciated. So I will just share with you quickly the details in case you would like to contact the organization and take any help or have any queries solved. So the phone number is there, 77760 We have our website, freedomfromdiabetes.org, and we're also present on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channel. And it would be nice to stay connected. And I hope that from whatever I have over the last an hour and above, talked about food for diabetes. If you can even start making certain changes on the milk aspect, on starting the smoothie and alkalizing your system, I am sure that you are bound to notice and experience certain benefits. So thank you for having me on this chat and talk. And it's been a pleasure to be here. And in case there are any questions, Mr. Kannan, you think we have time to kind of...
We have only 5 minutes for the answer question session. So member, it's on my request. Already the madam already addressed all the queries during the session. Means that most of point queries which we have. So madam already answered it. But even if you have any kind of single queries, you can ask. So please welcome.
Yes.
Hello, we should not. Hello, we should. Madam, we should not drink milk. Even during bedtime also, we should not drink. Right? Hot milk.
Yes. Please avoid milk totally, even at bedtime. Those who are on insulin, please monitor your sugars closely, because what will happen is that the insulin resistance caused by this IGF, which is there in milk and milk products, that will get out of the way. The natural insulin will act even better and faster. So your sugar levels might drop, and you might very closely monitor, and you might need to even reduce your dose of insulin. Okay, otherwise you can go into hypos. So I recommend those who are on insulin medication for diabetes, please have a glucometer with you and monitor your sugars. And when you see this drop in your sugars happening, because you need to then taper down the medication also.
My sugar fluctuates a lot.
Yes.
I'm Kamlesh Mahari here. My sugar fluctuates a lot.
Are you on any kind of medication?
Yes.
You're on insulin?
Hello, madam. Taking soya is good.
Soya is actually a diabetogenic. It has certain inhibitor enzymes which increase the diabetes. So please do not substitute milk with soya milk and substitute paneer with tofu on a daily basis. You can take it once in 10 days. It's okay, but not on a regular basis.
Oh, thank you. Madam, taking ashgar juice in the morning.
Sugar-free.
Ashgore is the most alkaline vegetable and also rich in prana. That's the life force. So definitely before the smoothie, if you wish, you can take a fresh ashgore juice, a little shot of that. It will help to alkalize your system very nicely. So yes, you can have ashgore juice in the morning.
What's your suggestion on soya grain?
Soya.
Yeah, soya grains or soya
Yes.
chunks?
Yes, so I just mentioned that soya is not very suitable for diabetics. It has certain inhibitory factors which actually aggravate diabetes. It is diabetogenic. So if at all you feel like having any soya products, please limit to only once in a 10 days or so, not on a daily basis.
Thank you.
Can we have oats, madam?
Sorry?
Oats.
Oats, yes. Now oats also, you get two kinds of oats. One is the refined oats, the flaky white oats that you get, Quaker oats and all, which means mostly people like to make a porridge. That is also refined. It will increase your sugars. So you get another kind of oats, that's steel cut oats or rolled oats, which is mostly there in muesli. So those oats are preferable. They are more whole, and you can make a porridge or whatever out of that.
Hello, Dr. Durya. I would like to know about the sugar free. How far sugar free is the substitute for the sugar free? Because some of the people, they say sugar free is very harmful. Sugar free.
Yes, so all these are artificial sugar substitutes. They are all chemical based. They harm your intestines. They kill the good bacteria in your intestines, which are necessary for your immunity, for your digestion, for your conversion into various vitamins and enzymes. They cause autoimmune conditions. And when consumed regularly for a long period of time, it's also known to be carcinogenic, that is cancer causing.
Madam, stevia, you said stevia, is it a plant or a powder or what, ma'am?
Yes, so stevia is a natural plant. It belongs to the Tulsi family. It is a herb which was used in South America for generations, like we use Tulsi in India. So its health benefits. But the sweetness was actually discovered. And now that plant you can grow in your balcony, you can use the dried leaves, you can use the dry leaf powder, which is also green in color. It has a lot of health benefits, and especially for diabetics, it improves the insulin sensitivity. It has 0 sugar, so that the glycemic index is 0. It will not increase your sugar by 1 point also. It is 0 calories, so it is good for people having, going on a diet and watching their calories also. Okay, so it is a recommended substitute. However, in the markets, you also get the white liquid and you get the white tablets. That is processed, so use it minimally. If you can use the green powder in your tea, coffee, or make a concoction or a kada, it is much more preferable.
Madam, what about jaggery? Good.
Okay, so jaggery is also made from sugarcane. It is less refined compared to the cane sugar that or the table sugar, the white sugar that you have. So some amount of minerals and fiber are still present, but it will still increase the sugar for diabetics. It is a good substitute to sugar, especially if you can get a black organic jaggery. That would be a good substitute for non-diabetics. Okay, for children or for regular people in the house. But for diabetics, it will still increase your sugar.
Thank you.
No milk, but what about curd or buttermilk? That also not good?
So curd and buttermilk will still have the IGF in it. It will still have that insulin-like growth factor, which comes through milk and milk products. So we make lovely vegan curd. So vegan means when you're not using any animal product. Okay. So we make a curd out of peanut and rice. In fact, if you go on YouTube, there are lots of videos and methods in which you can make curd without the regular milk. We make buttermilk out of that. We make dahi vada out of that. You can make dahi kadhi out of that and use it how you will use your regular curd.
Okay. Thank you.
Ma'am,
What about
having fenugreek seeds in the morning soaked in the water overnight.
Sorry? Can you just
Honey and lemon. It can be taken.
Fenugreek seeds.
Can you come again, please?
Soaked in water overnight, is it helpful for diabetes?
What was it that you soaked in water?
Methi.
Methi seeds. Yeah, methi is a good anti-diabetic. So you can have it soaked in water overnight. And these things you can have even first thing in the morning. That's fine.
What about honey, madam? Honey?
Honey.
Is there any?
Can I just complete this answer? Then
Hello,
we can
doctor.
question. I'll just reply to this
I
question.
am having sweet.
Dear members, please ask the question one by one. So
Yes,
Dr. would reply the particular answer of the question. So one by one,
I will just reply to this earlier question, ma'am. Just a minute about honey and warm water. So you can have warm water with lemon in the morning, but honey will also increase your sugars. So not really recommended unless your sugars are in good control, and you can if you feel like. But lemon and warm water is a good thing to have in the morning. Yes, ma'am. Then the other question that you were mentioning.
What about haldi and
get
this is vegetable? Hello,
so
Uh,
I take a glass of water,
hello, I
warm
get
water.
sweetness in my tongue.
Hello, I take in a
Hello?
glass of.
Yeah, can I have the lady complete a question, sir? I will have the, yeah, so the lady, can you please go on?
Yes, madam. Thank you so much. I get sweetness, saliva in my tongue. My tongue tastes sweet. So what is the cause for that? I feel as though I have put sugar in my mouth and my mouth and my tongue taste sweet. Like the saliva is
Okay.
sweet. Hello?
Yeah, I
Hello?
don't think there is any,
Hello?
yeah, I got
Hello?
your question. Yeah, I got your question, ma'am.
My saliva. Yes. Hello?
Yeah, so,
Hello?
have you checked your blood sugar level?
Hello?
Hello, yeah, I could hear you. Can you hear
Yes,
me?
it is normal.
Are your blood sugar levels high? Hello, ma'am, can you hear me? Okay,
Yes, it is under control. My
okay.
yes.
So it's all right. You can
It is
just
borderline.
observe. It is nothing significant medically. So you can just observe and just keep a check on your sugar levels and see.
But why does it taste sweet? My tongue tastes sweet as though I have put sugar in my mouth.
Okay.
Because you are a sweet person.
Hello?
Yeah. As rightly said, probably because you're a sweet person. But sometimes some taste buds, see, we have taste buds which are attuned to different tastes in different parts of the tongue. Like some taste buds are more for spicy, some are more for sour, some are more for sweet. So maybe the ones which are for sweet are a little hyperactivated in your case and or sensitive, and you can feel that taste in your saliva. So there is no medical reason for this as such, to my knowledge, but you can just observe and maybe take another opinion if you feel like.
Madam, can we have dates? Dates we can have? Khajur.
Yeah, so dates are also a good source of natural sugars with fiber, iron, and lots of micronutrients. In fact, when diabetics are undergoing hypoglycemia, either due to medication of insulin or tablets, that is the time we recommend dates for diabetics. Okay, so please, unless your sugars are under good, not on any medication, we do not recommend dates also. But once
Sugar
your
is high. My sugar is high. Always
so,
it is high.
no, so please do not take any of these sugar content. These are packed with sugar. In fact, one date can increase your sugar by almost 50 points, 50 points on your glucometer. Yes, so please avoid. But it is definitely a healthy option for non-diabetics to substitute for sugar in all your desserts and cakes and all kinds of things. But till your sugars settle, please do not have dates. Yes.
For hemoglobin and vitamin, iron, we have to take dates, no?
So, there are lots, as I mentioned, the smoothie and the greens are also a rich source of iron, and the hemoglobin and the chlorophyll are very similar. So chlorophyll in it helps to rebuild your blood cells and also give you energy. Okay. So you can start with the smoothie unless you have any other kidney issues and all. So you can start with the smoothie and see. We have not taken any kind of supplements, and my entire family, the iron levels are very high.
Okay, okay. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, madam. Already 6 we crossed specific time of the program. There are lots of questions, so member would like to ask, but as a specific time of the program, it's time to give vote of thanks. So dear friend, if you have any kind of query, already madam shared the screen and there the websites and the contact number is there. So you can reach on that numbers and get the clarification if you have any kind of doubt. So I request permission, please give vote of stand.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Duraiya, for a very enlightening session. We all appreciate your guidelines on food, how much sugar is stored in our body. We all have a trier of knowledge about all the substitutes of food and how much insulin is resistance is very important for us. I was thinking that morning tea, I very proudly tell that I don't take sugar in my tea. But now you are told that milk is also with sugar. So I have to think now of other alternatives. You have given many alternatives. And I like your this word, don't be slave of taste buds. Very good. And avoid acidic food. And 5S, you have told so sweetly, you have given us the recipe of smoothie, chutney. So very nice session and very good talk. Thank you so much, madam, for sparing your time. And I thank from the dignity from all of us. We'll have another session, very nice session. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
Thank you.
Interesting session. Interesting.